up, everybody? It's at Bo's DK Golf here with Wildman for the top picks breakdown for the Bermuda Championship. Wildman, what's going on?
Happy to be back, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, so we gave the course breakdown yesterday. Listen in for that. So we're going to go straight to the top picks. I'm going to lead it off with Will Zalatoris at 10-9. I think he's clearly the best player in the field this week. And I'm going to start most of my lineups there with Will Zalatoris. Three top tens with a miscut, but I'm not even going to really look at that miscut. He still played decent, only three bogeys that round. Coming off a massive tournament at the Shriners with 121 fantasy points, 23 birdies. I'm all over him. I don't think Todd is a bad play or Varner's a bad play. I mean, there's a lot of these guys I like up top, but that's who made my top list there. And then to finish up the $10,000 range, my second favorite play is Emiliano Grillo. He's in really great form, coming off 21 birdies also at the Shriners, 21st at the Corrales, and ninth place at the Barracuda, two good corollary courses. I just like this guy. He's in really good form and racks up fantasy points.
Yeah, Zalatoris, it's hard to argue with. He's the second highest player in the world golf ranking in the field. And the reason you probably never heard of the guy prior to, the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago was because he's a Corn Ferry guy, and he can't qualify because of the COVID-19 schedule and FedEx Cup changes this season. So he's going to remain a sponsor's exemption until this season is over. But he's a three-time winner, coupled in with all these top tens here recently in the last calendar year. So he finds himself top of the leaderboard often, and a guy that's ready to pop for a PGA Tour win. My take on Grillo is he's just a really, really poor putter. Really poor putter. It's bothered him since he won the Fries.com years ago. And it's what's kept him from really breaking through with another big PGA Tour win. So I think be careful what you wish for with Grillo. I'm not talking you out of it, but I think he's a guy that has a high upside, but also a higher floor, a higher, propensity to miss the cut than maybe some of the other guys at the top of the board.
Yeah, his irons have been on lately, and that putter is definitely scary. Slow greens this week. If I had to pick between the two, I'm obviously going to pick Zalatoris, but Grillo is going to make my list on top plays. I think he is definitely going to make a run for the top 10 at least. He is priced a little high at 10-1, but I like him. Then we get down to this $9,000 range, and this is where it gets really interesting. I almost have a case for every guy in this range. Starting off with Charlie Hoffman at 9.7. I know you're interested in him. Denny McCarthy, 9.5, is playing incredible lately. Has a top 15 here last year. And then Stenson Tringali, who I really like. But my top play, he's a must-have in my model, is Christopher Ventura. The guy's just playing really well. Like you said, this is like a Corn Ferry place. He's from Norway. 6th at the Sanderson, 52nd at the Corrales, and a 19th. I just think he's a sneaky play. 24 birdies, 20 and 22 birdies, and also 7 eagles in the last 5 rounds. So he's just a DK scorer, and I like this guy at 9,100.
Sign us up for Ventura, right, with those kinds of numbers. I mean, we talk about the importance of the DraftKings scoring all the time. It doesn't mean that they're finishing in the top 5 in the PGA Tour event. If they're making birdies, in other words, 3 birdies and 3 bogeys far outweighs 6 pars, or even 1 birdie and 5 pars. So you got to get guys that rack up points and are willing to go for the gold and get aggressive, especially on short courses with wedges that can, stick them in there 5 or 6 feet for birdie on a majority of the holes. So that's a big play.
Yeah.
I think also
real quick on Ventura, just before we change subjects, he missed the cut last week at the Shriners. He had 2 eagles and 8 birdies and not one round over 70. So he didn't play poorly at all. He barely missed the cut at 5 under. His highest score in the last 6 rounds, 7, 8, 9 that I can even see is a 72. So the cut is coming into play here. So I just like Ventura. The guy is playing way better than you think. Has a 63 at the Wyndham as well. So this is a guy that is reliable to make the cut and also has a chance, I think, to win this tournament.
Yeah, seems like a guy who could win here for sure.
So that was my last take there on Ventura. I just wanted to say that.
The only other thing I'd say in this range is that I think the Charlie Hoffman versus McCarthy debate is a big one. I think McCarthy's going to garner the higher ownership just because more people probably have seen him recently in good form, and he's a two-time defending strokes gained putting champion on the PGA Tour. A guy that I like at a course like this where iron play and putting is going to matter. Hoffman's a guy I've always loved. He's just getting up there, he's pushing 44 years of age, and there's not a whole lot of guys in the 40 plus range that win on the tour. I hate to say it, I think Hoffman's prime is passing him. So I'd lean McCarthy there, but man, I would not be surprised if Hoffman shoots a low round on Thursday or Friday.
He can definitely do it, Hoffman. McCarthy coming off 2 straight tournaments with 22 birdies. Just seems to be a scoring machine in DraftKings. But Hoffman is a sneaky play in a GPP play. He could easily come out here and win this tournament or top 5 it. So if you got $20 left over and you want to do a risky lineup, I think Hoffman's a great play. McCarthy is more of a cash play. He's definitely going to be high owned, so that's just something to think about. Other guys I'm looking at is Tringali. He rates out well, coming off 19 and 21 birdies. I just like this guy. He's a good player. He's someone I'm looking at. Don't know if he made the list yet. And then the other guy is Peter Malnati. I mean, he was in the list 2 weeks ago at $6,300 when he came in second. So obviously I like this guy, but man, $9,000, he's starting to get up there. What's your take on Malnati?
Yeah, I always tend to favor the guys who have won on the tour, and he's won on the tour and been in contention in a couple other spots. Tringali's a very volatile player. He can fill it up. He's a bomber. So I don't know how well he'll translate to this course. But that's really my only take on him. He's just a guy that I tend to never play because he's volatile.
Yeah, I
think, like Malnati.
Yeah, I think he's going to be low owned, and Malnati also coming off 22 and 23 birdies each with an eagle in those rounds as well. So man, he's playing well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll just keep going down here into the 8Ks, but one guy that we were talking about this yesterday, how there's just some guys that have all these missed cuts sandwiched around top 10s in the Caribbean and in like Punta Cana and Puerto Rico, and one of those guys is Maverick McNeely. I think he's got a lot of burst, and if he's putting it well, he can get hot. I don't know if I'd put him on the top plays, but he's got a shot this week.
Yeah, I was definitely looking at Maverick McNeely, 7th at the Barracuda, which is a good corollary course. So that's someone I want to look at. He definitely can string in 20 birdies as well 4 times on DraftKings. I'm seeing that he broke 20 birdies, and it's either 20 birdies or like 7 birdies for this guy. So man, that's pretty wild. He has nothing between 10 and 19. It's only 20 or 7 birdies. So that's pretty interesting play. I'm actually going with the Stars and Scrubs, lineups this week. So there's not a ton of guys I'm playing down here in the $8,000 range. You could look at Norlander. I know he rates out well. Shank is getting tons of love from everybody. He's a super interesting guy. So, I mean, Norlander and Shank are the 2 guys I'm looking at here.
Yeah, Shank, Shank has such a weird set of stats here because he hasn't missed a cut since June. And but he's only got 1 top 25 in 12 events. So that's really strange. Obviously, he's a guy that's aggressive because he makes a lot of birdies, but he can't finish, in the top 35 in an event. So that also means that aggressive nature of play is missing a lot of greens and not scrambling well and making a bogey for every birdie you make. So guys like that, I just don't love because it just shows an inconsistency in their game. To make that many cuts in a row and make that many birdies and not really have a finish that you could stick a feather in your cap with is something that's alarming to me. It kind of just means like if it's a little bit off for him, he might make a few more bogeys and birdies and miss a cut. He's got to be due, right? I mean, you can't make every cut with these bizarre, T48 finishes. So he's a guy that I'm not talking anyone out of him because he'll probably make the cut, but a guy that I want to see him miss a cut before I start riding him again. Norlander, on the other hand, was red hot in like June, July, and has cooled off, but he's got really, really good irons and a guy that can get inside 10 feet, in spurts. So certainly an interesting play too.
Yeah, I'm a big Norlander guy. I like him. $8,900. Again, he's getting a little up there in price. It's a weird tournament. But yeah, Adam Shank, in these kind of tournaments, when you have all these flyers and you don't really know what really is going to happen, you try to avoid chalk in these tournaments. And like you said, zero top tens even on his draft. Like if you look at DraftKings at 8,100, is zero top tens. And when you hear about chalk, you kind of just want to fade chalk in these tournaments because anything can happen. And if he misses the cut and he's like 30% owned, that's a huge advantage
Yeah,
on
and
the field.
to that point, we can move off it. But like when John Rahm is chalk, you're like, oh, okay, well, he might be 29% owned, but he's got a really, really good chance to win, and he'll probably top five it. With Shank, if you're getting a guy at 8,100 who, is likely to finish T40 at best, I mean, man, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree. And then we're going to drop down to the $7,000 range here. That was pretty much my two guys there. Again, I'm playing stars and scrubs, so I'll have more takes on these cheaper guys. And as always, we're running out of time because we have a little bit of limit here. But I like Wes Bryan at $7,800, like everybody else. But I don't think there's much to stray away from. The guy's, I bet on him all the time, and he tends to come through. He seems to just not get it done. Like he seems to be like the first round leader a lot and then kind of just fade away. So that's something to consider. But I like him. But again, he's going to be chalky. I've heard a lot of people talk about Wes Bryan. Scott Stallings here I think is super interesting. I like him. He just seems to rack up birdies, but he's been doing all right. But he makes eagles as well. Has some good history I think here. Yeah, 5th place at the Barracuda. So it's not everything you want to look at, but it's something to consider. Also, 6 plates at Sanderson, so he can do top tens in crappy tournaments. Then you got Joseph Bramlett here. I think it's a super interesting play. He seems to rack up some points. Also, his irons are incredibly hot right now, so if he can bring the putter together, that's someone that could be pretty sneaky and probably like 2% owned. So that's pretty much. Oh, and then we got a couple plays here really low at 7,000, Oppenheim and Hostler, but I'd say we get into those guys after we talk about this top range. Any other guys you want to go over in the $7,000 range?
Well, I'll just add a little bit. Brian has been pretty hot. He was injured for a while, and so it took some time off. That's why you haven't seen much from him. And that could have been something that was hindering his play a few months ago, and sort of caused him to fall off the map a little bit. I think it was a wrist injury actually. So if he's kicked that and he's 100% healthy, he's got talent. He won at RBC Heritage a few years back in South Carolina, and he's contended before. Bramlett was the original flyer of the week because we noticed a disparity with his odds versus his DraftKings value. Pardon me. I think he was like the 20th best odds to win, but he was the 70th ranked DraftKings priced player or something like that. And lo and behold, the guy ends up sticking it like 7th in strokes gained approach that week, and he was like T136 in strokes gained putting. So that's obviously his issue. But he started to pop up on some leaderboards too at 7,300. Just gets the putter going a little bit, man. He's got the iron play. Seems like they can make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think Wes Bryan is a bad play at all. I love this guy. A lot of top 25s and everything. He's got a prove that he can come in the top 10, I guess. But really stringed it together.